Today we're going to be speaking on, are you ready for a shift? Welcome again, everybody, to the call. My name is Dr. Jewa. Make yourself comfortable. You'll need paper and pen for this call. If you want to have a glass of water just to relax and have something to drink, that'd be great too. But paper and pen would be the two of the things that you would like to have for this call. Again, thank you for joining us this morning. This is day 318, and our session topic is, are you ready for a shift? So I have a question for you guys. If you wanted to put something in the chat, if you are ready for a shift, what would you look to shift in your life, in your relationships, in your finances, in your creativity? Uh, what would you look to shift in your mindset?
So we're going to officially start at 7:03. So the lucky folks on Facebook and in the Zoom space get to start. And I see a free already put in balance. So we have a couple of minutes or a minute and a half before we play our opening song, and then we can hit it.
Okay.
More folks coming in the space, Doc.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Wake Up Everybody community call, day 318. Are you ready for a shift? I am Dr. Jewa Lea, and I'll be your facilitator this morning. We'll be starting in a few moments. If you want to get paper and pen, that'll be great. And feel free to use the chat to communicate with us. The admin people will get the messages to me, and I'll be able to respond in kind.
Good morning, Dr. Jewa. Good morning, Wu.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody. We're just waiting to start. We're going to start in approximately 1 minute. This is day 318 of the virtual community, Wake Up Everybody. And the session topic is, are you ready for a shift? I am Dr. Jewa Lea, and I'm the author of the book Core Perfectum, What You Don't Know About Your Heart May Be Killing Your Life. Hello, Louise. How are you?
I'm happy to.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Good morning, Wake Up Everybody community. My name is Dr. Jewa Lea, and I am the author of the book Core Perfectum, What you don't know about your heart may be killing your life. Welcome to day 318. And the topic today is, are you ready for a shift? I saw Candace is on the call, Louise is on the call, everybody else who I couldn't see whose name it was during the opening, welcome. Also, welcome to our Facebook community. Um, and again, if you have any comments or any questions or any shares, feel free to put them in the chat, and we will get started. So, are you ready for a shift? So, what I would like to speak on this morning, we've touched on this topic once before. We've also had some people in the community to participate in a share that I had maybe a couple of months ago in regards to shifting our consciousness in order to achieve better health, better relationships, better creativity, and better finances. And so I want to touch on this topic again because it's something that I think that everybody could benefit from. And so if you are ready for a shift, let's go on to the next slide. I want to talk about the 6 essentials for living. And so in my practice, I talk about the 6 essentials. The first one being what you eat. That we know that what you put in your body is the fuel for your body, and it can impact whether or not you are feeling um, healthful or not, depending on what you're eating. The same thing for what you drink. So, drinking water as opposed to alcohol or high sugar drinks would be the next thing that would be on this slide. Okay. And then we have what you breathe. So breathing fresh air, not smoking. Um, so that has an impact on the biochemical makeup and how your body is energized, and then also how you exercise. If you do yoga or walking or chair aerobics, any form of exercise has an impact on your beingness. And how you rest would be the next thing, because it's important to get enough rest so that your body and your being is energized and able to go through the day. But the 6th essential is the most important essential, and that's what you think. You could do the first 5 perfectly. You could eat perfectly, or we consider what's perfect. We could drink clean water. We can breathe fresh air. We can exercise regularly throughout the week, and we can get the adequate amount of sleep. However, if your thinking is stinking, it impacts the first 5. So, does anyone have anything to share on the 6 essentials? So the 6 essentials, while I'm waiting for comments, the 6 essentials is like an umbrella for you to reference to when you're looking at how well am I doing in my beingness. So if you notice that your body is not performing well or you're not feeling well, these are the things that you would want to look at. And I would encourage you to look at number 6 first, because you could go without eating for several days. People fast for several days. You can go without drinking water for a couple of days without feeling any ill effects. You could not exercise and not have any problems for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, depending on who you are. You could go without getting adequate rest for a couple of days. You may feel a little loopy after maybe the 3rd day of not getting enough rest. But I challenge you to think about how long you can go without thinking a thought. They're thinking all the time. There's this constant chatter going on in the background. And so when we think our thoughts, they're actually um, helping create a biochemical makeup. Our thoughts generate chemicals in our bodies. So when we think, we also emote with those things, the things that we think. And so um, substance P, um, adrenaline, cortisol, all these things can be excreted in our bodies, and our bodies are reacting to these chemicals as a result of our thoughts. So what you think plays a huge role in how your beingness is maintained, or how the state of your beingness. Do we have any questions that I missed on admin?
No, I don't think so. Let's see.
Okay.
Folks are really commenting. Um, Candace Hurley said, I am on day 25 of Tanya Kinlow's 10-day retreat. No white flour, alcohol, sugar, no processed food. Teresa Scott said, what I think does affect how I handle my day. And then Candace came back and said that Be the Tree, which is the women's rites of passage that I lead, and the change in my thinking is what is currently creating the shift I need.
All right.
And so
Thank
those are
you.
the comments.
Thank you. So we can go back to the slide deck. I wanted to speak on some of the universal law, a universal law that I cover in my practice. I do personal coaching, mastery coaching. And what that means is that I help people understand the dynamic of their thoughts and help them navigate that minefield of thinking so they learn how to master themselves. And in that practice, we look at the six essentials because we have to support our bodies, but we also look at universal law because we honor the fact that we are these bodies, but these bodies are made of energy. And so we are primarily energetic beings having a physical experience. And so in that, you would want to understand how energy works in this on the earth plane, on earth. And so there's seven universal principles, but the one that I'm going to talk about today is the law of mentalism. And law of mentalism speaks on all is mind. The universe is mental. Thoughts lead to the manifestation of things and events. Thoughts create our state of existence and the quality of our experience here on earth. Therefore, be responsible for everything you create by being responsible for everything you think. And so I would have to say that on a whole, a lot of times we're unconscious of what we're thinking about. A lot of our actions are motivated by subconscious thoughts. There are some figures thrown around like between 85 to 95, depending on what reference you look at, that of our subconscious thoughts of our thoughts are subconscious and the rest are conscious. So we're motivated or activated by things that are happening in the background and not necessarily on the foreground of our thoughts. So go back to the slides, please. Okay. So the law of mentalism is the foundational law of the seven universal laws, and I'll outline them quickly here. We have the law of mentalism. We have the law of vibration. We have law of cause and effect or causation, law of correspondence. We have the law of rhythm, gender, and polarity. And I said them in no particular order, but I did keep number one, the law of mentalism, because that is the foundational law of energy in here, because everything is affected by a thought. Everything is created by thought and thought alone. So a lot of times we are reacting to things in our external environment, but those things were created by thoughts we have generated. And so that's an important thing, an important concept for what I'm discussing today. Okay, next slide, please. So one of the things that I wanted to go over is that we, as being emanations of the divine, our foundation is whole, perfect, and complete. We are, as emanations, this. Now, what has happened is that we, over time, have taken on stuff that makes us feel less whole, less perfect, less complete. Next slide, please. And so, our consciousness, when we started out, when our soul's consciousness started out several lifetimes ago, because I'm of the belief that we just don't have one lifetime. I believe that our souls evolve and have several lifetimes that we experience, and our soul learns new things in each lifetime. And so at the beginning of our soul's lifetime, our consciousness was like this glass of milk, pure, white, clear, no blemishes, no problems whatsoever. But as we have gone through different experiences, we have taken on things that may have clouded our consciousness. And those things are grievances. We have things that we don't like. We don't like our boss. We don't like our husband. We don't like our children. We don't like our commute to work. We don't like the fact we don't have to commute to work anymore. We don't like the fact that we're isolated. We don't like the fact there's COVID going on. We don't like this. There's a whole host of things. We don't like that she was wearing that top with that bottom. We don't like that, these shoes are ugly, or or why is she wearing that with this? There's a whole host of things that we take on that we don't even realize that we have taken on, that form these grievances, that are in the form of grievances. But what has happened over time, these grievances accumulate, and they result in this glass of milk looking like this. Your grievances start clouding up your consciousness. So you feel less whole, less perfect, less complete. And these grievances, over time, you see how it starts. You have a new grievance at the top of this glass of milk, this relatively new one. But at the bottom, you have some old grievances that have taken on and starting to swell up and started to change colors, and because they've been there for a while. And so in order to shift back to our original design being we are whole, perfect, and complete, we have to let go of these grievances. And so in order to do that, there are a couple of things that we need to know. And so our grievances hide the light of the world in us. And so A Course in Miracles lesson 69 speaks on this. That's the next slide. My grievances hide the light of the world in me. And so if you know this, now that you know this, what grievances do you think you hold on to? And I'd be interested in finding out from the Facebook community and from those people who are here joining us live on the Zoom chat. What grievances on the top of your head you know that you hold?
I'll start and share that racism is a grievance, like how people with power, specifically people who identify as white, can choose to be oblivious to those who are experiencing oppression. And while I know it's part of my work that I do in the world, but I know when I start to harbor resentment, animosity, and get stuck in the loop, then it starts to weigh down on me. And just being empathic, it just doesn't work. It starts to make me feel sick. And I'm complete.
Thank you. Anyone else in reference to grievances? Past poor relationships. Denise says that. Candace says racism, sexism are her grievances.
And then also, Dr. Jewa, there were a couple more in the chat that I'll share. Jacqueline says resentment when it comes to dealing with her mother and siblings. And Nefertiti shared homophobia especially with Black people. Teresa has her hand raised. So would you like to go to her, and then we can speak to a couple of other chats that were just dropped?
Sure. And while you're bringing her up, I'll share Amelia talked about corporate structure being her grievance, and Candace saying that family strife being one of her grievances. So yes, you can bring Teresa up.
One of the agreements that I deal with is how I handle myself, because sometimes I feel like I'm over hard. I'm extremely hard on myself, and so that's one of the things that I deal with. It's like constantly, like beating myself down if I don't do a certain thing a certain way, and not giving myself grace.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
So, oh, I'm sorry. I was going to read some more in the chat. Would you like
Yes.
me to do that? Or, okay. All right. So Candace also shared childhood trauma, racism, and lack of respect was shared by Denise. Candace shared again, failure is her other grievance. We have intimacy issues from Jacqueline, past failures from Denise, and Catherine shares community injustice. And I'll share my concept of fairness is a grievance that I have.
Okay. Thank you.
Certainly. So I don't see any other hands raised.
Okay. So I'll move forward.
Okay.
So I want to dig a little deeper as opposed to these grievances and what they really mean and how we actually have them. So in the form of energy, so how many of you agree that we are energy? So that, because this is an important foundational step in this whole conversation I'm getting ready to begin. Because if we're going to realize or agree that we are energy, then I need that an agreement or an openness to the conversation about us being energy for us to proceed. So do I have an agreement, a raise of hands, or agree? You can put that in the chat. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. All right. So let's talk about energy and how this works is as far as when it comes to grievances and our consciousness. So since we are energy and since our soul has transpired through various lifetimes and we're in this current lifetime, there are things that we have done in the past that may not have been that great. We could have been in another lifetime, we could have been white. We could have been female if we're male. We could have been Asian. We could have been heterosexual in the past lifetime, or homosexual or trans. I mean, all these different lifetimes, we have different experiences. In this particular lifetime, we have the spacesuit. I have the spacesuit of African American woman who grew up in the United States and had that cultural experience. But everybody else has a different spacesuit and a different identity associated with that spacesuit. However, our soul has been doing this for I don't know how long, and has been accumulating information and lessons over its lifetime. And so with those lessons, we accumulate junk. So if you in a past lifetime were a European soldier and you killed a lot of people, or let's say that you were Jack the Ripper. Let's make it extreme. Let's just make it as extreme as we possibly can. In a past lifetime, you were Jack the Ripper, okay? Or a past lifetime, you were Adolf Hitler, okay? You see where I'm going with this? You've done some heinous stuff, okay? And your soul is holding guilt for doing that, because now you're in a conscious level, you know that killing people or, raping people or anything like that is wrong. But in your soul, you're holding these raisins or those blobs in your consciousness, and they act like magnets to you. So energy being what it is, like attracts like. And so if you're holding these magnets of these past transgressions in your soul's consciousness, then you're going to attract that to you so that you can learn the lesson of what you need to clean up from your milk. It's actually a really ingenious kind of system. You get attracted in front of you the thing that you need to clean up. You get to understand what's in your consciousness that needs to be cleaned up by what is disturbing you in front of you. So the fact that we are African, majority of us on this call are African American or of African descent, and we are experiencing racism, that means that in a past life, you were a racist. In a past life, you were a police officer who was brutal. In a past life, you were in a position of authority and could care the hell about anybody else, and you acted superior. That's the only way that it could be attracted in front of you and be of a disturbance to you. So we have a collective consciousness as a soul group, then we have our individual consciousness. And in those things, in those consciousness, are the grievances that we need to clean up. Does that make sense? Now, this is a 180-degree shift from what we have been experiencing in our lives. We look at external events and see how they're affecting us. What we don't realize is that we are holding things that we're projecting outward and being mirrored back to us so we can understand what we need to clean from our consciousness, from past events in our soul's evolution. That's a lot. I'm going to wait for the comments and the questions. Anybody have any questions? Any comments? Shawnee, I know you're digesting this. Do you have anything?
I'm not trying to be greedy. Let's see who's out here and who can comment on what you just shared. Please raise your digital hand too if you have an immediate thing that you want to share about what Dr. Jewa offered up. I'm led to call on a Afrie and then anybody else too. Let's see, just inviting you to unmute. And let's see. Someone else.
Shawnee,
Oh, Veronica, there you go. Go ahead.
I had a feeling you were going to call me, so I said, let me jump in before she does. So, so I had this great realization because I've been carrying some things, right? And when you said a name, I said, Veronica, you got to share. Okay, so when I feel as though somebody has done something to me, I take flight. And so I had a realization 2 weeks ago. Somebody called me and they wanted me to do something. And the way they did it was like they bullied me. And I regressed back to maybe a different life. I went back.
Mm-hmm.
And my first instinct was to please that person, is to get it done because this person demanded it. And they gave me a timeline. And that was at that point I said, I'm not going to do that. And then I started to think about all my experiences where people have done this to me. And I started to realize that it's not the people that have done these things to me. It's the way that I have reacted to the way they treated me. I let them treat me in this egregious manner because they knew they could.
Okay, that's part of it. That's part of it.
Yes. What is
There's
the other? Yeah.
There's a deeper conversation too that I want you to hear.
Yes.
And it's not one of receivership, but it's one of, let me say this. Okay.
Yes.
I had a conversation with my son, and my son, he's will be 25 this year, and he had a very interesting and rocky teenage experience. He was deceitful and just manipulative and a whole lot of other things. And his life was really hard as a result of that. He burned a lot of bridges, he closed a lot of doors because of that. And this past week, he called me and he said, "Mom, you will not believe this." And he said, "Well, he said, obviously you will because I'm calling you." He said, "I just got to experience what I was like in my teenage years, and I got to see what it felt like to be on the receiving end." He said, "Oh my God, I see what everybody was saying about me," because he was going through substance abuse and the whole other thing during that time, and now he's sober. And so he was able to have a conversation about how he was presenting himself, because he got to see what it was like to be on the receiving end of all the things that he was doing during that time, that was disturbing and problematic and creating grief in his life. And he was able to identify that, I was deceitful, and I got to see what deceitful looks like, and I don't like it. And so I'm choosing not to be deceitful anymore. And what I'm saying to you is that when
Yes.
you are feeling bullied in a past life or a past experience, you were a bully. And now you get to be on the receiving end of it to see what that's like, so that it can be a full circle moment. You were the perpetrator, and now you're the receiver. And so it's a full circle moment, and now you get to heal it. And the only way that you can stop having people bullying you is not by avoiding people or running from people or changing who you associate with, because it's going to follow you, because you're actually magnetizing it to you because it's in your consciousness. The only way that you can absolve this is to shift and release the energy associated with bullying.
I felt that this week. This is the first time I got the realization that I have to do something differently.
Yes.
I got it. I got it. I got it. And I must have been carrying this from a past life. I got it.
Yes. So you were a bully.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. 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 Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else?
I wanted to jump in and share something that I realized for myself, and it just came up more pronouncedly in your exchange with Veronica, that sometimes my righteousness and my resentment towards others in the way that it manifests itself can be a form of bullying too. My silence and stonewalling, I don't know if that's the right word. Um, I know I can shift the energy in a room, because people expect me to speak and stuff like that. So I can bully people by not saying anything, because then they're wondering what's the hell's going on with her? Like, is everything all right? And everybody's worried about that instead of being in the space doing what they do. So being right, being righteous, being the victim can create a dynamic where people can experience me as, they wouldn't say bullying, but I, based on what you just shared and Veronica were just talking about, I'm like, that's a form of bullying too. It's like I'm the victim of something, and therefore I speak from that all the time. So people get pulled in, sucked into that energy when they're talking to me. And, I don't do that a lot, but when it happens, it can take over the whole space. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're holding in our consciousness the things that we need to heal. And so what's being attracted in front of you is showing you what you need to heal. So as a group consciousness, we're looking at, we've done some heinous stuff. We've kneeled on people's necks. We've lynched people. We've burned people. We've enslaved. It goes that deep. We have to look at how our consciousness, what we're showing in front of us that disturbs us, is informing us. and not sit back and think of us as victims, because that's not the lesson that is being shown here. The lesson that is being shown here is take a look at this. How does that feel? And how you're going to release that from your consciousness, how you're going to give that forth, forgive that in your consciousness, so that a shift can happen for not only yourself, but for everybody else involved. Does that make sense? Anybody else have anything? I know this is a little bit deeper than what I've done before, but I've been here a couple of times, so I thought that we were ready for this.
Yeah, I think.
What goes around comes around. That's the
Yeah.
adage that just came up on this chat. Yes.
Mhm. And Nefertiti has her hand up. So Nefertiti, you can unmute, and then after Teresa, I'm sorry, Amal too. Amal, your hand was brown. I couldn't see it as readily. I saw the yellow hand. Go ahead, Nefertiti.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, I love this presentation. This really resonates with me. The fact that, our souls are just evolving and learning lessons. And we've been in different situations in past lives. I just wanted to add to the conversation that I've found that sometimes the soul makes a contract, and makes a contract to like experience suffering, to learn compassion. And sometimes you have to shift that contract, not by bypassing it, but really by learning the lesson of wisdom and compassion, what the soul needs to learn before it can shift. I just wanted to add that, but this is absolutely great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Nefertiti.
Yes, I'm all here. Good morning. Oh, Jewa. I don't know why I always want to call you Jewa.
I don't know.
But
You know me for 10 years.
I remember wondering why, I had a boss who just stayed on me. Oh my God, she was just so vicious, and I just saw it all around me. And I remember Z saying, ask spirit in meditation or in a dream to find out what's going on. And I don't remember whether it was a meditation or a dream, but what I saw myself on a horse in armor with a sword lobbing off heads, girl. As I went along, I just lobbed off heads. And I said, okay, got it. That is what I brought into this lifetime to heal.
Yes.
So I'm so glad you have this conversation, because it's so necessary for us to understand life and the things that come at us, that we can heal and then move to another vibration, so that it's healing the planet as we're going along. Thank you so much for bringing this conversation.
You're welcome.
All right, we have Teresa next, and there's some comments in the chat. I would love for Darnice, if there's time, Jewa, you tell us, Darnice, and also Sahu Speak to share if we have time for it. But Teresa, go ahead.
Always thought everything was generational, that it came from one generation to another generation, is why, things were coming to me, not, personally, that it was something that I, was. So I'm just trying to fathom, that understanding. I could see how it could be connected. I do know that when a person's being manipulated to me, that I've been manipulated. I've been a manipulator, so that I can receive, but I never, my brain cells like from another, like a whole nother being. It just seems weird. But I guess if it's generation, it doesn't matter if it's generation, because there could have been someone, I felt like it was someone in my family that I could be operating under their negativity. That's how I looked at it, not as another person. So I don't, how could we deal with, like, what kind of conversation can we have on that one?
Well, the conversation around that is that's the blueprint that you came to experience this lifetime. You have to have a backstory. Every good play, every good actor who reads a play and studying for a part creates a backstory for his character. And so your backstory is that you came from this generational line. These were your parents' parents. This is where they came from. And this all plays out in the story of you in this lifetime. but your soul is just a role that your soul is playing in this lifetime. You know, we're just souls playing roles. You know, so you don't get too attached to this spacesuit because it's going to change the next time. And I know that's also maybe hard for those who may be looking at this as a legacy kind of thing. But yeah, that's what's happening energetically. You know, energy. Our soul is vibrating at a rate that we can't see. And once we leave this physical body, which is also energy vibrating at a lower density, our soul goes on to find its next assignment. You know, what am I going to learn next? What am I the lessons that I'm looking to learn, like Nefertiti was speaking on? What are the things that I'm looking to overcome? And in that, there is a spacesuit and a backstory for that spacesuit. Anybody have anything with that? Do you understand that, Laura? I mean, Teresa?
You have to unmute, Teresa.
I understand. Yes, I do. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
So this chat is blowing up, GY.
Yeah.
Louise's raised hand. So what direction do you want to go? You want to?
Let's go with Louise. I'm ready to take questions.
All right, awesome. So Louise, if you can.
Hi. Hi, morning. Thank you for this conversation. My father was a metaphysician, and before he transitioned, he used to talk to me a lot about past lives and, situations he had when, he met a young child, and the child said, "I remember you. We were in such and such a life together, in a past life." For me, certain things, I get dreams. I've gotten dreams, like I dreamt my children. I knew how their fathers were going to be, and it ended up coming true. I've dreamt several deaths in my family that came true. And I'm listening to you talking about what we did in a past life. And I know there was a time that I dreamt that I was a white man in my past life. So that kind of resonated with me, that it always stuck with me. So that would be interesting to know if I'm living this because maybe I did something in a past life. But I definitely would know that on a spiritual level, I'm definitely feel like I'm higher. I've learned to trust my intuitiveness and to learn the hard way to kind of trust what spirit is telling me. So thank you for this conversation. We don't get a lot of people necessarily talking about metaphysics and past lives. So I appreciate this. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Louise.
All right, how do you want to proceed, Jewa?
Do you have somebody else?
Yeah, Purple has her hand up.
Okay, Purple.
Good morning. Good to be with everyone and you again. I used to go to a metaphysician, and I'm realizing in this conversation, which is timely, the last 48 hours, these topics, what you're talking about, has all been coming to me, specifically about my inner child. And when I went, one of the last things that I was told was that I was paying my karmic debt in this lifetime. And that is the best thing. It's great, but it was going to be painful. And yesterday in a therapy session is the first time I realized I really was in a bubble for a majority of my life to avoid pain. And and when it popped, it literally was like, oh my goodness, I haven't been in reality, right? Mm-hmm. And since then, it's been learning to feel the pain, but the autopilot of avoiding it has been interesting. And it's been hard for me to digest that it's a good thing, to be honest, right? To pay my karmic debt. She was like, it's all over. And the thing that landed with me is your anger is not going to be justified. It's justified, but it won't be justified. You have done this to others in the past. And so what I feel like is like, I have to eat that. I have to wear that. I have to just take what people are doing in this lifetime because I've done it. And that's where the conflict and resistance for me is. Like, okay, how do I navigate that?
Yeah. Okay. So if we look at everything that's happening in front of us as information, and so it basically is informing you of what you need to heal. It's not like you're going to just keep on receiving it, and like you just have a cat of nine tails throughout your whole lifetime of paying karmic debt. It's basically informing you, okay, I was an abuser in a past life, obviously, because I'm feeling abused, in a certain emotionally abused. I'm just using that example.
Mhm.
So it's the act of releasing the abuse, me as the abuser, is the act of like releasing the hold of the abuser in me. So it's like, okay, it's coming to terms with, okay, I must have been an abuser in my past life, or I must have been an abuser even in this lifetime. It could be this
I've
lifetime.
been abused in this lifetime. This is so
Yeah.
interesting you're saying
Yes.
this.
Yes.
This is
So
what we
you
were
could
trying to
be
work
an
on yesterday.
Yeah, so you could have been an abuser in this lifetime or past life. Your soul is like, look, you need to look at this. And the only way that you can get your attention as to what you need to heal is by putting it in front of you and getting you to experience it. It's a very ingenious system. You get to be informed on what you need to heal. Okay. And so it's not just you receiving it and just saying, oh my God, just constantly receiving it. It's an opportunity for you to say, okay, obviously I've done this. I choose to release this. I choose not to do this ever again. And really mean it on a heartfelt level. That's where the shift in consciousness takes place. That's where a shift will take place when you release it, because now that's no longer in your consciousness. That's no longer a blob in the glass of milk that's going to be magnetized to you. And the way that you know that you've healed it is that you no longer experience it.
And thank you, because I've been saying like, no more, I will not be abused anymore in this lifetime. I've been saying that, not understanding it's not about me being abused, it's healing that I must have been an abuser in a past life. I never made that connection. So I was kind of not healing. I'm at the wrong thing. I was not at the root cause of it.
No,
Okay,
you were,
thank you.
yeah, exactly. And that's why we're having this conversation, because the conversation that comes to me when I meet people for the first time in offering this information is that shifting from victim mentality, this is happening to me, as opposed to God mentality. Like, I'm getting back to God and getting back to original design by understanding what is in that glass of milk that needs to be healed. And every time I take something out of that glass of milk, I'm closer to original design, which is my consciousness as God.
Thank you. That wasn't painful to hear, to feel, to hear. Look at that. The words just coming. Let me go. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have two hands
Okay.
that want to share. I'm not sure where you are with the
Yeah,
slide.
that's fine.
All right,
I'm
awesome. All right, now we're gonna resolve some stuff today. Sahu Speak, you are up next, then Catherine.
Oh, great. Okay. Greetings, everyone.
Hi, Sahu Speak. How are you?
Hey, greetings. So, this, I'm aware of the Course of Miracles, the Kabbalion. You didn't mention, but I know you definitely read all the principles, and it's right on my shelf. So just a lot of my knowledge comes from the Kemetian source, right? So if I think about Kemet, and I think about the history, thousands of years before American slavery, in that sense, before the 400 year that everybody talks about, there's thousands before that, right? And so when I think of the community spirit, the community souls, and the different things that have happened, so then I think about, okay, so when we do think about, quote, Black America and the years of slavery and being brought here through Caucasians, and also, even though the Caucasians were not the only people that enslaved people, but how do we look at that piece? How do we look at that piece of enslavement, just capturing those 4,000 years, right, 400 years of slavery, right? How do we look at that also as a people? Because you're talking more of us looking at ourselves, but not just ourselves, but also as a people, what we've done. So how do we look at that?
Just like we look at everything else from the plain perspective of if it happened to me, I must have done it.
So when we're looking at the people that enslaved, even the enslavement for the Holocaust. So if you're looking at the African people, we were enslaved. We look at if they've done it to us. I mean, I don't understand what you're saying. How do we look at that?
Okay. Release the need to not look at it and look at it for what it is. Objectively, if I'm experiencing it, I must have done it. That's the only way. That's how energy works. You have to give it first in order to receive it. Energy out, energy back. And so if you're receiving it, that means that you had to give it first. If you're receiving it, it means you had to give it first.
Mm-hmm.
It's how energy works.
You messing up a lot of people today.
I know I am.
Let me try to get this right. So
that's why I asked for two sessions, Johnny.
Right. I didn't realize what you were doing, but thank you.
I can get me. I can get me. I don't get the enslavement piece. I don't get that.
Okay, that's fine. But however,
or are you saying don't look at that?
Nothing operates in a vacuum. There are no exceptions. There are no caveats.
Right. Yeah.
So
okay. So
if it takes you a while to wrap your head around it, because there's time beyond time too, And so our history is not as well documented as we may think.
Definitely. Good. And that's what I want to get to. So it's not as well documented, right? So, okay, so if I am a white person, how do I look at this then?
As a white person?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
So if I'm a white person, right, that has enslaved people, right? If I'm the slave master, how do I look at what you're offering?
In that lifetime, they got to experience what it was like to be dominant over other people. And the ramifications of that.
So if I'm a slave master and I'm beating people, enslaving them, what did I do in the life before? Was I a great person? I mean, I'm trying to understand because I don't get that aspect.
What you did before, it could have been anything.
I'd love to jump in, and so you making this more complicated than it needs to be, but I
help me out. This is my question. I want to hear.
So, because I feel like you're right there and you have it, but there's just a level of resistance. So, if we've been enslaved in this lifetime, or we're marginalized or oppressed in this lifetime, that means in another lifetime we marginalize someone and oppress them, and now the synergy or the reciprocity or how she said this loops work is coming back at us karmatically. So if you're the dominator in this lifetime, what's the opposite of that? With the same concept, it's the same formula. If you're dominating in this lifetime, what does that mean for the previous lifetime?
Then I was a slave?
You've been dominated. Is that correct, Jewa?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you could wrap your brain around you being an individual person who could have bullied someone or dominated someone. So we are part of collectives. So if you can wrap your brain around an individual way of dominating or being the killer or being the massacre or whatever that is, then you can definitely wrap your brain around, or I invite you to, that a collective energy can be about that too. We come from collectives. We don't get born and get dropped in the woods and raise ourselves. We're part of cultures, concepts, mindsets, ways of being, paradigms, teachings, all of that. So if one person can do it, then they got it from a mass of people who could do it. That's my view on it.
And let me just add to that those collectives also are just blueprints of experiences. But ultimately, the end goal is getting back to God consciousness, whole, perfect, and complete, because every story, every collective has flaws. Everyone has, every collective, every story has a flaw. There's no good story. There's no good, background. There's no good anything. It's just a vehicle in which we are riding in to have experiences so that we can learn. And then our souls can evolve.
So it's okay. So what I'm gathering here is like, do not have an attachment to, and okay. So, because sometimes the question of history is like, what do we really do with it? So it's almost like what you're putting out is almost like, don't have an attachment to anything other than the energy that's needed to actually create yourself as a God man or God woman. Like that's the end goal. That's the end goal. So, and in terms of like what you're saying, in terms of energy, everybody's history has highs and lows. It has great things they did. It has horrible things that each culture has done. And it's what you're offering is to not be attached to all the greatness, because there was a period when that culture was in decline, and don't just stay stuck on the decline, because there was also highs. So okay, all right.
Thank you. Yay, woohoo!
That's cool.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Shawnee, do we have any other comments? I know that Angie.
Yeah, there are a few people. Like I said, this conversation is lit. But before we go there, it's 7:57. So you want to say anything about those who might have to leave at 8?
Yes. For everybody who has to leave us, because of obligations, I thank you for joining us on this call. It will be taped and you can look back on it. Also, I will be back next Tuesday, which is the 11th, I believe that is. Was this the 11th? At 7 o'clock in the morning for a Wake Up Everybody, a continuation of the conversation, so that we can really fine tune what I'm presenting here so that we can move forward. Thank you so much for those of you who have to leave because of your obligations.
Beautiful. All right, so we have Wendy that had her hand up, and then Amal, and then Amelia. So Wendy, you ready?
Hi. I actually pulled in a gas station so that I could respond.
Okay.
But I started typing in the chat that when we spoke about past lives, I remember years ago, over 20 years ago, I did a past life regression session, my curious self. And I saw myself, I think I was a healer, because there were a whole lot of medicine, like, vials of, I don't know, herbs, medicines or something. I was a healer. And my assistant was my mother. She was not my mother in that lifetime. She was my assistant in that lifetime, but my mother in this lifetime. And something happened. I remember there was a knock on the door. This is what I was seeing in the regression session. A man opened the door, and there was this man with a gun, a rifle, and a shot was fired. I don't know if he shot me or if he shot her, but I went blank, and that was it. Got out of that regression session. So I've always been curious to know what happened. Was that the end of my life at that point? And in this lifetime, I've always been so interested in nutrition and healing, and that's my passion still. So yes, I do believe that we experience lifetimes, although that's not my Christian belief or upbringing. So there's a little conflict for me there in totally absorbing it.
Right. Yeah, understood. Yeah, I mean, your physical life is that as that experience was over, but your soul's experience continues on, obviously, as you. And so, yeah, I mean, you've had several lifetimes, and that's how energy works,
Yeah.
you know. And so I know that I threw a bomb or in the middle of the what's wake up everybody community, and I'm just kind of standing back and watching everybody get new perspective on what is happening. But yeah, like Nefertiti says, energy is not destroyed; it continues on, and we just put on these dense energy spacesuits to have these physical experiences, and so that we can um, know what a strawberry tastes like or what a sunset looks like and everything like that, because we get to experience that in our physicality. Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
I'm having some experiences.
Yes, continue to have,
I
continue to
don't
be,
know what I
let your
did.
life, let your life be your curriculum.
That's
Your life is your curriculum.
Yeah.
And I mean, and once we start understanding that our life is our curriculum, how we approach our days will shift. A shift will happen. You know, when we get out of the mode of why is this happening to me, and I have a slide on that later on, as to, you know, why is this, instead of saying why is this happening to me, first question now that should come to mind, and it'll come quicker and quicker as you know, take on this new way of thinking, is this, what is this informing me? What is this informing me? As opposed to why is this happening to me? What is this trying to tell me that I need to heal? You know, I've learned all of this, you know, studying under the tutelage of Dr. Caroline Fuqua. She's an Egyptologist and a metaphysician and all around great person. And my life totally changed when I took on this way of thinking. Because now I can see how I've moved past various things that used to be problematic. And so, what I can tell you from personal experience is this, as soon as you recognize what needs to be healed and do the work of healing it, and basically it's just basically giving it forth. It's a simple thing of giving it forth. And sometimes we need really hard lessons in order to make it painful enough that we don't want it anymore. And so, you know, really saying, okay, I must have been an abuser in my past life, or I was abusive in this life. Okay, I mean, because it could be this life or a past life, and the fact that you cannot remember it does not matter. I just want everybody to get over that too. Well, I'm a good person. I didn't do this. You know, I go to church. I do all the great things. I'm da da da. Doesn't make any difference. If you're experiencing it, it's a clue. It's an energetic clue that you have done it. Okay, and if you experience it and you have a emotional reaction, that's clue. That's just clue with a capital C. That's your information. So once you have that information, you have a choice. And that's the wonderful thing about free will and dominion. You get to choose whether or not you want to heal it or you want to continue on down that same path. But if you do choose to heal it, the act of giving it forth, taking it out of that consciousness and giving it forth and saying, I no longer want to experience this anymore. I must have done this. And I am truly sorry. That's the whole practice of Ho'oponopono for those of you who are familiar with that concept. Ho'oponopono is basically saying, thank you, I love you, please forgive me. And that's what Ho'oponopono is talking about. That practice for those of you who may be familiar with it. If you're not familiar with it, I encourage you to look it up. Ho'oponopono. It's the act of giving forth the thing that you see in front of you that's disturbing to you, and really in a heart-centered place, really meaning that you want to get rid of it. And what happens once you do it, it's like, okay, the first time I did it, it was like time, what's it called?
Time. Astro travel.
It was not astral travel. It was like, what's that movie, that show that used to come on, black and white? that was really,
Oh, Twilight Zone?
thank you, Twilight Zoning. It was like very Twilight Zoning because I was anticipating the same thing experience to happen when I would encounter that person. And it was totally different. It was almost like it had never happened. The conversation was like different. It was just like, oh my gosh. And the resistance of wanting to engage in that kind of antagonistic back and forth that I had experienced with that person was there, but I was like, oh my gosh, okay. It actually shifted because now I'm not experiencing it. It's not coming to me. I may have some residual stuff of, what it was like to feel that, but it's not coming to me. Everybody understand that? Everybody get that? So yeah, when you shift, you will know, you will be informed by what's happening in front of you. That's what's so great about how this whole energy thing works. You get attracted to what is in your consciousness. So if you no longer have that in your consciousness, it's not going to get attracted to you, and you're not going to be activated or agitated by it. Okay, so Afua says, no, I didn't get that. Okay, so Afua, can you unmute yourself so you can let me know what exactly you didn't get?
I was trying to catch everything that you were saying, but I think I was thinking too deeply. I didn't catch it at all.
Okay, I'm going to repeat it one more time. About my story about interacting with
I'm
somebody.
taking notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, let me say that I had an experience with someone who used to steal and steal from me. Okay. Whenever, and same person, two different experiences. Used to steal from me, and whenever I got something new, would break it. Okay. And so, of course, when something like that happens, you're like, okay, why does this keep happening to me? Why am I keeping getting stolen from? Why can't I have anything nice? Why when I buy something that's really nice, it gets broken? And so when I found out about this work of energy and how it works, I looked at, well, if I'm being stolen from, that means that I was a thief. And a thief could be someone who takes a pen that's no longer not theirs, borrows something and doesn't give it back, as well as grand theft auto. I mean, thievery has degrees, but it's still taking and not giving back. Okay. Then as the thing about experiencing not being able to keep nice things, new things, then I must have broken or done that in the past, just broken stuff out of spite. And this was the story that I created. Broken stuff out of spite so that someone else couldn't enjoy something new. So as soon as I wrap my head around the fact that if I'm experiencing it, I must have done it. Then I said, okay, I'm going to give this forth. I don't like how it feels to be stolen from. I don't like how it feels to have my things broken. I like new things. And I must have done this. So I choose not to do this anymore now. And I'm choosing for my whole soul, not just for this life experience. I'm choosing to release this for my soul's sake, if I want to say sake, but just for in reference to my soul. Okay. And as soon as I did that, I've left my keys in the car. I've left stuff out. One time I was someplace, I forgot to lock the door. The door was open. I was coming from a family trip from Florida, driving up, and I stopped at my brother's house in North Carolina. We took stuff out of the trunk, went into the house. Someone forgot to close the trunk. It was Christmas time. We had Christmas presents, all kinds of stuff in the car, trunk open all night, nothing taken. So the stuff works. I'm telling you, it works.
Thank you. I get it now. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All righty. So we have two patient folk waiting to share. So Amal is one, and then Amelia. Thank you for waiting. So Amal, if you're ready.
Spirit is wonderful. That's all I can say because Jewa, do you remember? I don't know if you were at the gathering we had, and that conversation about slavery came up because I was because I'm doing a Woke Wednesday. We call it Woke Wednesday in our church, where we are talking about what our belief systems are, et cetera, and introducing them to things. And this is one of the things that I'm introducing them to through Hermetic, calling it Hermetic prophecy, the 7 basic, which we also know as universal laws. So after I went through all in my talk, I came down to, and it was in my mind, well, then where does slavery come into this? And in meditations, Spirit said slavery is just an event that has happened across humanity at various times. So I love the way you said, Jewa, that it's just a blueprint because all of us have been white, we've been Asian, we've been Black, we have experienced in our lifetimes as we incarnate into a life, many different races. So it has really not a lot to do, and if I've been correct, then just correct me, Jewa. But it hasn't anything to do with my being Black now. It has something to do with my being Black and incarnating in this lifetime that I have to work through what that means. So
well, it necessarily had to do with race either. It just has to do with the energy around what the event is.
Yes.
So it has nothing to do with race. Race is just a way of creating different experiences. You know, it provides contrast. How can you know what Black is unless you know what white is?
That's right. Okay, got that.
It's just a way of providing color and contrast.
And I will certainly bring, if it comes up in my talk, because there'll have to be a question answered. That's good, because you must not have been there, because I didn't get that from anybody. I was laughing all the way, you know. But anyway, and one last thing. I was working with this white guy, David Palmer. I'm telling you, David was sweet, but and handsome, tall, you know, and he went through women like wildflower. So I said to him, I said, you wait till your next lifetime, you're gonna be a woman. He said, no. We laughed about that. But yeah, you're right. Okay, color as just a contrast. We're born into this just to work through whatever we need to work through. Thank you. And I have an
Thank you.
Then when that
Thank you, Amal.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Jewa, I'll say this really quickly because I know we have to move to Amelia. But what I'm processing is how we move as clans too through lifetimes. And maybe that's not the right word to use. But I never told my sister that she's in this space, but I got a reading one time and they were telling me, well, how my daughter and I were mother and daughter switched roles before, that I was Asian before, that I was enslaved during the time of the antebellum period in the United States, and that these energies keep manifesting themselves and we show up in these different bodies and we bring the same folks with us in that, as Nefertiti said, in that contract to work through stuff. And this whole concept about race, like in this lifetime, that construct, made up as it is, it probably didn't exist. It definitely didn't exist in other constructs or time periods. It's like we keep replicating stuff in different ways, but it's not exactly the same, but it's the energy like you shared earlier. But that clan thing and coming back with different people, I'm like, I know you from before, whether it's men I've been with or friends that I've had and conflicts with people. I'm like, I know this is a loop and I want to jump off. I'm like, I'm so damn tired. But I get what you said about shifting it. So thank you. Amelia, are you ready?
I am ready, and I'm just so grateful for this conversation. I came into this space deep in grievances, and just that reminder of, my grievances is just me fighting against me. And even as I understood that, I still needed that reminder to take me out of that place. So I'm so grateful for the conversation. And in relation to slavery, what was coming up for me around just the conversation around slavery is the whole idea that slavery itself is this journey in faith, in the things that we've experienced and endured. There's something deeper within us that continues to allow us to rise up and rise through and push through and overcome it. And I feel like slavery is that lesson in understanding faith and bringing us back to that connection to source, to connection to that wholeness. So that's how I experience slavery, as this adventure and journey in faith, bringing you back to yourself.
Mhm. Thank you, Amelia. Definitely part of the, it's a good blueprint to. I mean, every story has a reason for being, and it's basically to help us evolve and get back to original design. All of it. So don't get attached to your stories or your in the way that we may have become attached to them, that we think that we are our story. Our story is just a vehicle for us to learn and to evolve. We talk about ascension and being closer to God. Well, we don't get closer to God in our story. We get closer to God by removing the things in our consciousness that interferes with us identifying as God and not our story.
Yeah, so we have a question from Facebook from Denise. She had to jump off the Zoom space into the Facebook space. And she says, so what do we do as Black people currently with oppression and inequities? And I feel like you answered some of that, but just to repeat it again so that we get this.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, it can be a bit mind trippy to think about this in this way, because we have grown up in how we conduct ourselves, how we view other people, how we view circumstances in a whole different way.
Yeah.
Just know that the thing that is in front of you that emotionally charges you is the thing that you need to heal. So if you're seeing abuse or oppression, or you're getting stolen from, or anything negative that is impacting you, just know that you are a perpetrator first in order to receive it. It's a full circle experience. It has to go out first in order for you to come back to you. And the only way it goes out is it's going out from you. You did it, and now it's coming back. And so you don't have to remember doing it. So don't, beat yourself up about, or about the circumstances. The information itself is enough. Just focus on what's in front of you. And so if you're affected by seeing people being beaten and everything else, so just know that you had done that. You've beaten, okay? And don't take it personally, okay? Because I'm seeing a whole lot of things about people feeling remorse or upset about the fact that they were abusers. You were abusers when your soul wasn't conscious of what it was to abuse, okay? This is talking about your soul has not always been, okay, where you are now, your soul has not always been there evolutionary wise. There was when everybody talks about the fall from grace. Well, the fall from grace is a really a basic, a general thing where you're turning your back on God, and then you're going out into the world and experiencing the world as it is. And your soul did that. It separated from God, in a sense, by turning its back on it, and then started experiencing life, not really remembering that there was an attachment to source. But as your soul goes through this evolution, there's more and more awareness that there's something else out there that is supporting me and everything else. And now you're at a point where you understand that there is something else out there that's supporting you. Okay, so you're not feeling separate. Now you just have to clean up the stuff that you did while you were unconscious. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I wanted to share, I put it in the chat just now. I'm like, this is just me being me. We need to stop fronting. That's where I'm at, because I can wrap my brain around, I was a perpetrator. I was a thief, I was a liar, but I'm like, I need to own that I've been all of those things in this lifetime. It may not be the extreme of a serial killer, but I've killed off things, I've stolen things, I've lied, I've manipulated, I've cheated, I've been an infidel, like all of those things. I've had rageful thoughts, I've broken shit, all kinds of stuff. So when I see all of this in the chat, it's like, oh, I can't believe. I'm like, look at your life. We live in this world, and it may not be in the most extreme end, but when I look at the continuum, I've been a bit of every single thing that you can conceivably think of. I've been sadistic, I've been masochistic, so it's not so far off from me. And like, if I've had bits of it in this life, I could have had huge manifestations of it in other lives and rolled with people who destroyed and killed and were warmongers. I've had spaces in my life where I've been a warmonger, like spoiling for a fight because I was so rageful and angry. So I just want to offer up that if we don't have far to look. I just want to offer that up.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of times the information in front of you may seem really loud, but doesn't have to take on the same flavor. But just know that you're reacting to it. You've done a version of it, and that's enough. Okay. Sometimes it has to be loud for it to get your attention. Sometimes it has to hit you in your heart in such a way so that it gets your attention. So it's like, hey, this is something you need to look at. That's the conversation. This is something I need to look at, as opposed to, oh my God, can you believe that happened to XYZ? So yeah. Thank you, Shawnee.
No problem.
So
All right,
this is a conversation that when Shawnee contacted me and asked me if I wanted to present again, and I said, yeah, give me 2. Now you know I wanted 2.
I'm like, you need 5, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, so this is a conversation that we can continue next Tuesday, but I wanted to start it so that you can actually start looking at your life and looking at what's coming up for you, and then having a different perspective on it, and then being willing to, and sometimes initially there's the novelty of looking at the information and not doing anything about it. It's just the whole novelty of, oh, I must have done that, and then at the end of the conversation.
Sure.
Okay, but then I'm encouraging you to look at the information, take ownership of it in a way that is beneficial for you, which means releasing whatever it is, the offense or everything that you see. And just notice what happens after you do it. And you'll know that you have done it when you no longer experience it. That's what's so elegant about this whole setup. You attract to you what is for you. And if it's no longer for you, you won't have to experience that anymore.
Sure. Yeah. I want to offer something up. I'm willing to do it. But if you're willing, for sure. It was asked a few times, well, how do we do this? How do we engage in this work? How do you release the stuff from the past so we can live this life and keep moving forward and deal with the karma? I'm like, I would love to do a meditation session, some session where we're all focusing our energy on chopping that up. When I think of Kadeem and what he comes into the space, I don't know if you've experienced him, Jewa, but he comes into the space and he cuts through the stuff that's blocking us. He does Reiki and energetic healing work. And I really can see us collectively coming together to start to shift and transform this. And it's going to take rounds of it, but I'm down for it or up for it if others are. Like, this is the type of community that we've been building for a year plus that can take this on. So I don't know what your thoughts are around it. You probably do it already, but I'm definitely with that all the way.
Yeah, I do that. And I would love to do that. I would love to help with that. It's, you can't solve a problem by pushing bodies around.
Yeah. I tried it, it don't work.
It doesn't work. The only way you can solve a problem is shifting your consciousness. That's the only way.
Beautiful. So we got to figure it out. Otherwise, we're going to take over your whole life. You'll be here every morning with us. So let's figure that out for sure. Amal has a comment. You have time for?
Yeah,
I do.
just
All right.
just
Go
real
ahead,
quick. We do in my church. We started doing goddess circles. Every month we get together and we would talk about things and we would point out, okay, so what were you thinking when that happened? Or, you know, and it was like, it took maybe 3 months for people's lives to actually shift. And in 3 years, people were raving about it. And I'm going to start it again because that's, once again, Spirit. This morning in meditation, he said, you need to start another goddess circle. Aziz would have the goddess circles, right? We would come in white, which means that we shed everything that is of the world out, become pure. And we sit and be honest in our conversations. And we would be, what did we say, uplifting each other, showing, you know, because we use universal law. And so I'm going to do that again in my circle. And I would love to join something like this or help you even organize it, because it is a wonderful space. And usually we can do it generally, but it's usually just women. For the goddess circle, it's just women. And it is just phenomenal. I'm done.
Thank you, Amal.
Beautiful. So anything you want to say in our final moments together, Jewa?
Yeah, I just want to go to the slide deck just one last time.
Okay.
Sure. If you'll tell me which slide you'd like for me to go to.
Slide number 9.
Okay. Okay, I'm bringing it up.
I don't see it yet. Oh, there we go. Okay. So slide number 9. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. So as far as our physical bodies,
go back, Nigel.
You know, this is good. This is good right here. Every physical complaint is an expression of an unlearned lesson. So just know that your unlearned lessons are showing up as physical complaints. So your inability to forgive certain things, or what you're seeing in front of you, your boss, you hate your job. Let's just say that I hate my job. My job, I hate my boss. My boss is this, that, and the other. Well, what is your boss showing you? Every time I think about going to work, I feel sick. Okay, well, what is that experience showing you? And so heal that, and then your whole experience will change. It's not about changing jobs or hoping that your boss gets transferred or or whatever. The solution of moving bodies around, or moving situations around to make yourself feel better. It's about creating a shift internally that will create a different experience. Next slide. So when you replace, why is this happening to me, with what is this trying to teach me, everything shifts. Everything shifts. Next slide. So one of the tools that I use to help with this process is BEST, bioenergetic synchronization technique. And it looks at subconscious emotional memory patterns that you've accumulated and breaking those patterns. So now you can replace your thinking and your doing this with a brand new slate. It's like doing a Control-Alt-Delete on your nervous system. But we'll talk more about this the next time, because this is a multi-layered conversation. Next slide. So just know that you can't look outside of yourself for salvation. Changing man's laws so that there are less chokeholds, or changing stimulus packages so that you can have more money. Your salvation comes from you. My salvation comes from me. That's lesson 70 in A Course in Miracles. It's all about consciousness, shifting your consciousness so that you feel perfect, whole, complete, abundant, creative, all those things that identify you as God and not as your story. Next slide. And so this is me. This is what I look like when my hair is done. And this is my book, Core Perfectum, What You Don't Know About Your Heart May Be Killing Your Life. I'm currently in the process of recording the audiobook version of this, and that should be out by summer, I should say. And a lot of the concepts that I'm speaking of today are covered in this book, because once you get your heart disease is the #1 killer of people in the Western world. And even with COVID, it's still #1. And heart disease is like a leading cofactor that helps COVID do more of what a COVID does as far as fatality rates. So our hearts are being affected by what we're holding in our consciousness. Can't express that enough. And so once we understand that we are energetic beings having a physical experience, and the only way that we can reach the higher realms, the only way we can reach God consciousness is through our hearts, we had to clean up our soul. Clean up in our soul. Our heart is the seat of the soul. That's where our soul rests. So as soon as we clean up our consciousness, our hearts will get better. Okay, next slide. So Shift Happens is an offering that it's a class that I'm having on Saturday. Hit the return again. Saturday, May 15th at 10 a.m. from 12:30. Hit one more time. The fee is $28, one more time. And you can sign up by going to store.drjewa.com. We'll be going into how to do the shift in the class. I'll be actually giving you how to do this. So there you go. Okay, next slide. And if you want to follow me or contact me, these are how you can do those things on Instagram and Facebook. Not that heavy on social media, but when I do post inspirational stuff, informative stuff. And then if you want to email me at info@drjewa.com. Next slide. And this is the green door. Our heart is the green door. It is, the color green is associated with the heart chakra. It is the door to the higher realms. It's the door to our higher consciousness, a God consciousness. And so if we want to change our circumstances, we have to do it by tapping into what's in our consciousness that needs to be removed, that is interfering with us identifying as that clear glass of milk, whole, perfect, and complete. All right, I am complete, Johnny.
Yes, you are. All righty. Listen, this is a life-shifting, energy transforming, spirit expanding manifestation of ascension session. And so because it's all of that and much, much more, and some of it we can't wrap our brains around because we've been taught so many other things, we can't really fully get it. I invite you to honor and bless our beloved Dr. Jewa by giving love offerings that are in alignment with what she's offered to us this morning. So in this space, money represents my own natural energy yield. And it's so perfect that we have an energy yielder in the space in the form of Jewa Lea. And we're so grateful. So what we can do is send her some love in the form of dollars and cents to Zelle or QuickPay, soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com, or through Cash App, $Spirit of a Woman. And the link is there if you need it. And then her code is #318JL, #318JL. You can screenshot this if we're moving really quickly, or jot it down really quickly. But definitely bless her, bless her, bless her. And like Stacy says, make it rain for Dr. Jewa. All right, so let's move forward. So tomorrow, one of my favorite people on the planet is going to be presenting, and she is in this space today. So Nefertiti Lashley will present Practicing Energetic Hygiene, a guided meditation with energy work principles that refuel you with unique, authentic energy. Yes! Looking forward to that. It's a perfect segue from this session to to her session. So please join us again. And the next day, on Thursday, we have a returning facilitator, awesome, powerful sister Tirzah Barnes Griffith, who's going to be speaking about it's okay to choose you. Yes, you from the old lifetimes and you today. All right. And for those who are new, which I saw some new folks in the space, welcome to Wake Up Everybody. We affectionately call our crew the Woo Nation. Please come back. If you are new, place that newness, that information in the chat, in the Facebook space, and then also in the Zoom space so that we can acknowledge you, because the community is so loving, so appreciative for your presence. And we hope that you will return. What we say, don't hit it and quit it. Don't have it be one and done. Keep coming back, and invite your clan so that they can experience it too. So if you're new, please drop it in the chat. Schedule for the new folks, and a reminder for the folks who've been here. We meet in this Zoom space and on Facebook Live on Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays for a 90-minute session. Today is an example of that. So 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. is the time to be here and to experience the awesome wonders of the facilitators that we have that are part of the Woo Nation. Then on Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 7:30, we meet. It's 30 minutes, but it's juicy. So you don't want to miss any of this awesomeness. And then on Fridays and Saturdays, we apply what we learned. We don't meet in the Zoom space, but we practice in our everyday lives. We have Woo swag, Woo Nation swag. So this summer, you want to be seen rocking your t-shirts. If it's not too warm, your sweatshirts. You also, want to be wearing your masks out and about, being safe. And then also having your tea cup, coffee cup, water cup, whatever you want to use the cup for. But please do purchase. If you have purchased something already, buy it for someone else and invite them into the Woo Nation so they can rock out with us. We are also going to be designing some new stuff based on our Woo language, like our Woo speak, as we call it. So different sayings and pins and, just different things that we can utilize so we can keep growing and manifesting in real time and space as a community. So now is the time to express our gratitude for the facilitator. And before we do that, before you get your vocal cords warmed up to say thank you and demonstrate appreciation, we invite you to register for each of the weeks that are coming up at bit.ly/wake up movement. You can screenshot this. You can join us on Facebook if you're not already on the page. Some of you come here all the time, but you're not on the page. So please join the page. I'm going to encourage folks today, and you can go right in, use your other device if you're on your laptop or your iPad or your tablet. Go to your phone and go on the Facebook page and post about what you discovered today. What did you discover? Like, brag about the fact that you discovered that you're a violator, you're a perpetrator, you're a thief. Like, it's not significant, it doesn't mean anything, but go and post about what you got from this powerful experience or any of the sessions that you experienced this week. So our Facebook page, bit.ly/Woo community, or you can go into Wake Up Everybody virtual community, like type that in and you can find it and join us. Please do post, y'all. We need more testimonials and energy in the neighborhood. I always say, go on the stoop, like the old days. Go on the Wake Up Everybody stoop, sit out there, talk, and see what other neighbors join you in the conversation. In Instagram, at Wake Up Everybody Virtual, YouTube, bit.ly/Woo on YouTube, and email us if you have suggestions for facilitators, if you want to make comments, give testimony, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. Awesome sauce. Whose birthday is it today? Did I miss somebody? Unmute, let us know. Somebody got a birthday today that I missed?
No, that's tomorrow. I told Nefertiti I'll be here with her tomorrow and get blessed for my birthday.
Oh, yeah. So Stacy, happy pre-birthday, and we will definitely celebrate you tomorrow for sure. Love you, love you, love you. Wish I could celebrate with you. And I will, but not at the actual party. However, everyone, if you can unmute and give our beloved Jewa some love.
Thank you, Auntie Dr. G.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr. Jiwa. This was so awesome.
This
I'm
was
Really
so
amazing.
grateful
Thank
for
you
Dr.
very
G.
thank
much.
you
I'm
so
so
much.
Transformative.
grateful for you.
Absolutely
And
transformative.
I,
Thank
Christian or
you.
not,
Rocked
It was
the
a
world.
blessing.
so
Thank you so
so
much for
grateful
sharing
for
the
you
light
and
of
just
love,
continually
continuously
What a
shining on us,
so
conversation.
much
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Dr.
discovering
Jiwa.
within you.
continuously
Always
shine.
out of the box and
Amazing.
out of pocket. Thank you, thank you.
Absolutely
We
amazing.
appreciate you. Please,
Our God is
so glad you're coming back.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you,
I
thank
really
Great
you.
thank you. I
village.
thank God.
So much good to hear what you
Transformative.
had to say.
Healthy eyes.
Waking
I'm
me
so
up.
glad
So
we can
much.
start reaching more
Thank
people.
you, my beautiful queen.
I
My
love you,
beautiful
girl.
queens and
Keep on
kings.
doing the work.
It was
Thank you. Have a
beautiful.
great
Thank
day,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Admin.
Queen.
Yo.
Thank you, Shawnee.
Yes,
Thank you, Admin
Shawnee.
team. Thank you, all of you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
Thank you, thank you.